What if I told you that every meaningful person in your life was handpicked by God before you were even born? That your spouse, your best friend, your mentor, even that stranger who said exactly what you needed to hear, they were all part of a divine plan written in the stars. The signs are always there, but most people miss them. Today, you'll learn to recognize when God places someone in your path with supernatural precision. Think about the most important people in your life right now. The ones who changed your trajectory, opened doors you didn't even know existed, or simply appeared at the exact moment when you needed them most. What you're about to discover will completely transform how you see these relationships, because what you thought were coincidences were actually divine appointments orchestrated by a loving God who knows exactly what your soul needs and when you need it. Before we dive into the 7 unmistakable signs, you need to understand something profound about how God works in human relationships. Every sacred text speaks of divine orchestration in human connections, but most people live their entire lives missing these miraculous interventions. In the Bible, Proverbs 16:9 tells us, "In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." This isn't just about your career or life direction. It's about every person you encounter along the way. Each relationship is a stepping stone in a divine plan that's so intricate, so perfectly timed, that it would take your breath away if you could see it from heaven's perspective. The concept of soul recognition appears throughout spiritual traditions. In Hebrew, there's the concept of bashert, your divinely ordained soulmate or destiny. In Islamic tradition, there's the belief that souls recognize each other in the spiritual realm before meeting in the physical world. Ancient Greek philosophy spoke of souls being split and spending eternity searching for their other half. But here's what most people don't understand. God doesn't just send you one person. Throughout your lifetime, He sends multiple souls, each with a specific purpose, each arriving at precisely the right moment, each carrying exactly what you need for your next level of growth. Have you ever noticed how certain people show up in your life at the most unexpected moments? Right when you're questioning your faith, someone appears who strengthens it. Right when you're about to give up on a dream, someone enters who believes in you more than you believe in yourself. Right when you're drowning in loneliness, someone surfaces who understands your heart completely. This isn't random. This is God's exquisite timing. Consider how Jesus called His disciples. These weren't accidental meetings. Matthew was a tax collector going about his ordinary day when Jesus simply said, "Follow me." Peter and Andrew were fishermen casting their nets when their entire destiny shifted with a single encounter. Each meeting was divinely orchestrated, perfectly timed, and eternally significant. The same divine precision that called the disciples is at work in your life. God is constantly placing people in your path, some for a season, some for a reason, and some for a lifetime. But all of them arrive exactly when your soul is ready to receive what they carry. The first sign that God has placed someone in your path is an instant, unexplainable sense of familiarity. Within moments of meeting them, you feel like you've known them forever. There's no logical explanation for this feeling. You've never met before. You have no mutual friends, no shared history, yet your soul immediately recognizes theirs. This isn't just getting along well with someone new. This is something much deeper. It's like looking in a mirror and seeing a reflection of your own spirit. You finish each other's sentences, you think the same thoughts, you share the same values and dreams without ever having discussed them. Scientists try to explain this through psychology. Similar backgrounds, compatible personalities, shared interests. But those who've experienced true soul recognition know it goes far beyond earthly explanations. This is two souls remembering a divine connection that predates this lifetime. In Genesis, when Adam first saw Eve, he exclaimed, "This at last is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh." There was instant recognition, immediate knowing that this was his divinely appointed partner. He didn't need time to figure it out or analyze compatibility. His soul knew instantly. When you meet someone God has placed in your path, you'll often find yourself saying things like, "I feel like I've known you my whole life," or "It's like we're old friends." Trust this feeling. Your soul is recognizing something your mind can't yet understand. This recognition can happen romantically, but it's not limited to romantic connections. You might experience this with a mentor, a friend, even a child. The common thread is always the same: immediate, unexplainable familiarity that defies logic but feels absolutely true in your spirit. The second unmistakable sign is timing so perfect it can only be described as miraculous. These divinely placed souls don't just show up randomly. They appear precisely when you need them most, often in ways that seem impossible to orchestrate through human planning. You're struggling with a business decision, and suddenly you meet someone who's faced the exact same choice and can guide you through it. You're heartbroken after a relationship ends, and a new friend appears who helps you heal in ways you never thought possible. You're questioning your career path, and someone enters your life who opens a door you didn't even know existed. The timing is so precise, so perfectly aligned with your need, that you can't dismiss it as coincidence. It's like God has been watching your life, knowing exactly what you'd need and when you'd need it, and He's been preparing this person to be available at exactly the right moment. Consider the story of Ruth and Naomi in the Bible. Ruth could have left her mother-in-law after her husband died. It would have been completely understandable and culturally acceptable. But she felt compelled to stay, to care for Naomi in her time of greatest need. Later, when Ruth was gleaning in the fields, she happened to work in the field belonging to Boaz, who would become her husband and redeemer. This wasn't luck. This was divine choreography. In your own life, you'll notice that God-sent people often appear during transitions, crises, or moments of decision. They show up when you're moving to a new city, starting a new job, facing a health challenge, or going through spiritual growth. Their arrival is so precisely timed that it serves as confirmation that you're not alone in your journey. Pay attention to the people who enter your life during your most challenging seasons. These are often the souls God sends to carry you through, to provide exactly what you need to not just survive, but thrive. The third sign is perhaps the most transformative. These divinely placed souls act as spiritual catalysts in your life. Their presence doesn't just comfort you or make life easier. They challenge you, stretch you, and accelerate your spiritual and emotional growth in ways that wouldn't happen otherwise. They might be the friend who lovingly challenges your limiting beliefs, the mentor who sees potential in you that you can't see in yourself, or the partner who inspires you to become the best version of yourself. Their influence pushes you toward your destiny, often in ways that feel uncomfortable at first, but ultimately prove to be exactly what you needed. Jesus chose disciples who would challenge and grow through their relationship with Him. Peter was impulsive and needed to learn wisdom. Thomas was skeptical and needed to develop faith. Each disciple brought something to the group dynamic, but each was also transformed by being part of it. When God places someone in your path, you'll notice that your growth accelerates. You start making changes you've been putting off for years. You find courage you didn't know you had. You begin to see yourself through their eyes and realize you're capable of much more than you believed. This growth isn't always comfortable. God-sent people have a way of holding up mirrors that show us parts of ourselves we've been avoiding. They love us enough to tell us the truth, even when it stings. They refuse to let us settle for less than we're capable of becoming. If someone has entered your life and suddenly you find yourself growing, changing, and reaching for higher versions of yourself, pay attention. This is likely a soul God has specifically sent to help you evolve. The fourth sign is a level of understanding that goes beyond normal human perception. These divinely placed souls see you, not just the version of yourself you present to the world, but the real you. They understand your heart, your motivations, your fears, and your dreams in ways that feel almost supernatural. You might find yourself wondering, how do they know me so well when we just met? Or how did they know exactly what I needed to hear? This isn't just good intuition or social skills. This is divine insight being channeled through another human being. They see through your masks and defenses straight to your authentic self. They're not fooled by the walls you've built or the roles you play. Somehow they perceive the person you are when no one else is watching, and they love and accept that person completely. This divine understanding often manifests in several ways. They might ask questions that cut straight to the heart of what you're struggling with. They might offer comfort for wounds you've never told anyone about. They might speak words of encouragement about dreams you've never shared out loud. In the Gospel of John, when Jesus first met Nathanael, he said, "Before Philip called you, when you were under the fig tree, I saw you." Nathanael was amazed that Jesus could have such specific knowledge about him without any natural way of knowing. This supernatural understanding was evidence of divine insight. When God sends someone into your life, He often gives them glimpses into your heart and situation that they couldn't have through natural means. This enables them to minister to you, encourage you, or challenge you in exactly the ways you need. If someone understands you at a level that seems impossible given how long you've known them, recognize this as a sign of divine placement. God is using their understanding to reach into your life in ways that bring healing, hope, and growth. The fifth sign is the discovery that your life purposes, callings, or destinies somehow intersect or align in meaningful ways. This isn't just having similar interests or goals. It's the realization that your individual purposes are somehow designed to work together, complement each other, or strengthen each other. You might find that you're both called to serve the same community in different ways. You might discover that your different skills and gifts combine to create something neither of you could accomplish alone. You might realize that your individual journeys have been preparing you for a shared mission or purpose. This alignment often becomes evident over time rather than immediately. As you get to know each other and share your hearts, dreams, and callings, you begin to see how perfectly your purposes fit together. It's like finding puzzle pieces that were always meant to connect. Consider the partnership between Moses and Aaron in the Bible. Moses felt inadequate as a speaker, and God provided Aaron to be his spokesman. Each had individual callings, but those callings were designed to work together to accomplish God's purposes for the Israelites. Neither could have fulfilled the mission alone. In your own life, you might meet someone and initially just enjoy their friendship or companionship, but over time you realize that your partnership, whether romantic, platonic, or professional, enables both of you to accomplish things that would have been impossible individually. This destiny alignment is one of the strongest indicators that God has specifically orchestrated your meeting. He doesn't just throw random people together. He strategically places souls in each other's paths when their combined purposes can accomplish His greater plans. If you've met someone and you keep discovering ways that your life purposes complement or strengthen each other, recognize this as divine design. God is weaving your stories together for reasons that may extend far beyond your individual lives. The sixth sign is a deep, supernatural sense of peace and safety in their presence. This goes beyond normal comfort with a friend or partner. It's a soul-deep security that allows you to be completely vulnerable and authentic without fear of judgment or rejection. In their presence, your spirit feels completely at rest. You don't have to perform, pretend, or protect yourself. You can share your deepest fears, your biggest dreams, your most embarrassing failures, and your most cherished hopes without worrying about how they'll respond. This level of safety is supernatural because it's not based on evidence or time. It's a gift from God. This peace often manifests physically as well. Your nervous system calms down around them. Your anxiety decreases. Your sleep improves. Your overall stress levels drop. It's as if their presence carries a piece of heaven's peace that your soul recognizes and receives. Jesus spoke about the peace that passes understanding, a supernatural peace that doesn't depend on circumstances but flows from divine connection. When God places someone in your path, they often carry this kind of peace with them, and your spirit responds to it immediately. This safety allows for unprecedented levels of intimacy and connection. You find yourself sharing things you've never told anyone else. You reveal parts of yourself that you've kept hidden for years. And instead of judgment or rejection, you receive love, acceptance, and understanding. This supernatural peace is often one of the first things people notice about divinely placed relationships. Even before they can articulate why, they feel safer, calmer, and more at peace than they felt in years. If someone's presence brings this kind of supernatural peace to your spirit, recognize it as a sign that God has specifically placed them in your life. The seventh and final sign is the appearance of confirmatory signs and synchronicities that seem to validate the divine nature of your connection. These might include repeated number sequences, meaningful coincidences, answered prayers, or circumstances that align so perfectly they can only be explained as supernatural confirmation. You might both pray for a specific type of person to enter your life and then meet each other. You might discover that you were both in the same unlikely location on the same obscure date years before you officially met. You might find that your meeting happens through a series of coincidences so unlikely that they feel miraculous. These confirmations often come when you're questioning whether the connection is real or significant. Just when you start to doubt, God provides clear evidence that He's orchestrating your relationship. These signs serve as divine reassurance that you're not imagining the spiritual significance of your connection. In the Bible, God often provided confirmatory signs for His people. He gave Gideon a fleece test to confirm his calling. He provided signs and wonders to confirm Jesus' ministry. He uses signs and synchronicities to confirm the relationships He orchestrates in our lives as well. These confirmations might be subtle, like hearing the same unusual phrase from multiple sources right after meeting this person. Or they might be dramatic, like discovering that you both lost a parent on the same date and found comfort in the same scripture verse. The common thread is that these coincidences are so meaningful and precisely timed that they serve as clear divine communication. Pay attention to the signs and synchronicities that surround your most significant relationships. God often provides confirmation of His orchestration through these supernatural validations. When you see them, thank Him for His clear communication and trust the divine nature of the connection. Understanding these 7 signs transforms how you approach relationships. Instead of seeing connections as random or purely human, you begin to recognize the divine hand at work in every meaningful encounter. This awareness brings several profound shifts to your relational life. First, you approach new meetings with greater openness and expectancy. You never know when God might be placing someone significant in your path, so you treat every encounter as potentially divine. This doesn't mean you're naive or lack discernment. It means you're spiritually aware and receptive to God's orchestrations. Second, you develop deeper gratitude for the significant relationships in your life. When you recognize that God handpicked these souls specifically for you, your appreciation increases exponentially. You stop taking these connections for granted and start treating them as the sacred gifts they are. Third, you gain confidence in divine timing and provision. When you see how perfectly God has orchestrated past relationships, you trust Him more completely with future connections. You stop forcing relationships or trying to manufacture connections, knowing that God will bring the right people at the right time. So how do you live this truth practically? How do you apply this understanding of divine soul placement to your everyday relationships? Start by praying for increased spiritual sensitivity. Ask God to help you recognize the souls He's placing in your path. Pray for wisdom to see beyond surface interactions to the deeper spiritual realities at work. Pay attention to your initial feelings about new people. Don't dismiss that sense of familiarity or peace as mere psychology. Your spirit often recognizes divine connections before your mind can process them. Look for patterns of perfect timing in your relationships. When someone appears exactly when you need them, thank God for His precise orchestration and remain open to how He wants to use that connection. Be willing to be used as a divinely placed soul in someone else's life. God doesn't just send people to you, He sends you to others. Stay sensitive to opportunities to be His representative in someone else's journey. Remember that these divine connections often extend beyond this earthly life. The souls God places in your path may be part of your eternal family, your spiritual community that transcends physical death. The love, growth, and purposes you share here create bonds that continue in eternity. This eternal perspective should influence how you treat these divine connections. Love deeper, forgive quicker, invest more intentionally, and treasure these relationships as the eternal gifts they are. Every person God places in your path is a sacred trust. They're not just there for your benefit, you're also there for theirs. These relationships are mutual blessings, opportunities for both souls to grow, heal, serve, and love more fully. As we conclude, I want to challenge you to look at your life with new eyes. Who are the people God has already placed in your path? Which of these 7 signs have you experienced but perhaps dismissed as coincidence? Take time to thank God for the souls He's sent you. Express gratitude to the people themselves for being willing to be used as instruments of His love and purpose in your life. And remain expectant for the souls He's still preparing to send. Your life is not random. Your connections are not accidental. Every meaningful relationship is evidence of a loving God who sees your needs, knows your heart, and orchestrates encounters with surgical precision. Trust His timing. Recognize His hand. Treasure His gifts. And remember that you too are a divinely placed soul in someone else's story. The next time you meet someone new, the next time you feel that inexplicable sense of familiarity, the next time circumstances align perfectly to bring someone into your life, pause and consider that you might be witnessing divine orchestration in real time. God is always at work, always placing the right souls in the right places at the right times. Your job is simply to recognize, receive, and treasure these sacred connections He provides. Welcome the souls He sends. Trust the timing He orchestrates, and never forget that in a universe guided by divine love, no meaningful connection is ever accidental. Every soul you recognize, every heart that recognizes yours, is proof that you are seen, known, loved, and never alone in this magnificent journey of life.